Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. Listen, if you're a focused learner looking to systematically upgrade your vocabulary, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're conquering Lesson 32 of that classic text, 504 Absolutely Essential Words. And I gotta tell you, I'm genuinely thrilled to guide you through this. Because building a robust vocabulary, it's not just about sounding smart. It is absolutely crucial for sharpening your ability to think and communicate with laser-like precision. So go ahead, get comfortable, lock in, and let's expand that linguistic toolkit. Okay, let's dive right into our roadmap for today. First, we'll welcome you to Lesson 32. Then we'll take a deep dive into the word refer, explore a few other essential words, shine a quick spotlight on the word colleague, and finally, we'll wrap up by testing your vocabulary with a fun visual word quiz. Kicking things off with Section 1. Welcome to Lesson 32, the 12 Essential Words. Before we start climbing this vocabulary mountain, I want to remind you of a core philosophy from our text. Repetition is literally the recognized road to mastery. We can't just glance at a word once and expect it to stick forever, right? We've got to see it in a definition, read it in sentences, and visualize it out in the real world. That's how we build actual linguistic muscle memory. So, here's the lineup of the 12 words we're mastering today. Refer, distress, diminish, maximum, flee, vulnerable, signify, mythology, provide, colleague, torment, and loyalty. Now, some of these might feel like old friends, while others might be a little hazy. Let's get them all sharpened up. Moving right along to Section 2, Deep Dive, Refer. To really get a feel for how dynamic the English language can be, let's give the very first word on our list a proper deep dive. Taking just one word and analyzing it from all sides can seriously upgrade your reading comprehension. So the textbook definition of refer is to hand over, send, direct, or turn for information, help, or auction. Now, what's really interesting about this is how multi-layered it is. It isn't just some flat, one-dimensional concept. It's actually a super active word that implies movement, whether you're moving a problem to someone else, moving your attention over to a source, or moving the cause of something back to its origin. To make this totally actionable, let's break it down into 3 distinct usages based on the text. First off, we got the idea of handing something over or turning to something for help, like a teacher telling you to turn to a dictionary for a tough word. Second, it means to direct attention to or speak about something. Think of a public speaker referencing a specific quote to back up their point. And third, it can literally mean to assign to or think of as caused by something. You're basically pointing the finger of causation. It's actually kind of fascinating how this one simple verb just stretches across so many totally different scenarios. Let's look at this in action to really lock it into your memory. Let us refer the dispute to the dean. This absolutely hits the nail on the head for that first meaning we just talked about, handing over a problem. A dispute or a conflict is going down, and instead of trying to figure it out locally, the action of referring it sends that whole situation straight up the chain of command to the dean. Seeing a word in this kind of concrete context, that's exactly how you transform abstract vocabulary into something you actually use every day. Let's jump into Section 3, Exploring Essential Words. Okay, now that we've seen the sheer depth of a single word, let's explore a few more of the real heavy hitters from Lesson 32. And let's pay close attention to how they describe both internal emotions and external realities. Take the word distress. The definition is great pain or sorrow, misfortune, dangerous or difficult situation. And what I absolutely love about the examples in the source text is just how broad this word is. Distress can be deeply, deeply emotional, like a family in distress over a terrible accident. But, it can also be totally practical and just plain frustrating. For instance, long, unscheduled delays at the train station cause massive distress to commuters. It's a word that perfectly captures friction, whether it's a heavy sorrow in your heart or just absolute frustration during your morning commute. Now, let's put 2 concepts head-to-head. On one side, we have diminish, which means to make or become smaller in size, amount, or importance. Think of brutal summer heat diminishing as the sun goes down, or maybe a diminishing supply of snacks in the pantry. Then, on the flip side, we have its conceptual opposite, maximum, meaning the greatest amount or greatest possible, like hitting the maximum distance you've ever walked in a single day, or hoping for maximum turnout at your next event. And this brilliantly illustrates a great study hack. Learning words in contrasting pairs is like super glue for your memory. You remember the shrinking nature of diminish right alongside the total expansion of maximum.
Next up, we have vulnerable, which means capable of being injured, open to attack, sensitive to criticism, influences, and so on. The authors give us some really fantastic imagery to remember this one. They mention that Achilles was vulnerable only in his heel, a classic piece of mythology, right? But they also bring it right down to earth, pointing out that a solitary traveler is a highly vulnerable target for thieves. It's a super powerful word that instantly communicates risk and exposure, whether we're talking physical safety or emotional walls.
All right, Section 4, Word Spotlight on Colleague. Let's take a quick breather for a fun little word spotlight. We're going to focus on a word you probably hear literally every day in the professional world, but one that has a notoriously sneaky reputation when you actually try to write it down. Colleague. It is notoriously difficult to spell. The source text actually dedicates a whole spotlight section just to warn us about it. It means a fellow worker or associate, but man, those vowels at the end, the U, the E, they trip people up constantly. The authors jokingly point out that you could just use the word associate to get by in an email, but where's the fun in that? Nailing the spelling of colleague is a great little victory in your vocabulary journey. So do me a favor, lock a mental image of that Colleague spelling right into your brain today. On to Section 5, Test Your Vocabulary. Okay, so you've absorbed a lot of valuable information. But as any focused learner knows, passive reading just doesn't cut it if you want true mastery. It's time to force our brains to do a little work. So, which of our 12 words means capable of being injured? I'll give you a second. Think of the mythological hero Achilles. Think of that solitary traveler we talked about. Got it? Yep, the word is vulnerable. If you nailed that, fantastic work. You're actively moving that definition straight from short-term memory right into long-term retention. Let's try one more just to make sure this is all sticking. Which word means great pain or sorrow? Remember, this was the word that could apply to a major, life-changing misfortune or just a really terrible, frustrating situation like being stuck on a delayed train. The answer is distress. These active recall checks, they are absolutely crucial for solidifying what you've learned. And finally, Section 6, Visual Word Quiz.
Now for the final, and I think the most interesting part of our explainer today. The authors of 504 Essential Words do this brilliant thing where they include cartoons at the end of their lessons to force you to connect these abstract vocabulary concepts to actual visual stories. Take a really close look at this striking illustration we pulled directly from the text. We've got an arm clad in a checkered sleeve, right? And it's tightly clutching a bag covered in dollar signs. Then, right above it, another arm in a dark, formal sleeve is raising a whip, clearly getting ready to strike downward. It's a super tense, highly dramatic scene that showcases a very clear conflict and a massive power imbalance.
So I'm going to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative question. Which of the words we studied in this lesson is suggested by this picture? Is the person with the money bag experiencing distress? Are they in a highly vulnerable position? Or is the person with the whip actively inflicting torment? The true beauty of these visual quizzes is that they force you to debate the really subtle nuances of the vocabulary. I want you to really think about which single word perfectly encapsulates this exact moment of tension. Ponder that, keep reviewing your 12 essential words, and hey, I look forward to guiding you through our next vocabulary explainer. See you next time.